the beachside city that could start charging for parking. This is News 6 Mornings.
Hey, good morning on your Thursday at 7 a.m. I'm Crystal Moyer.
I'm Justin Warmouth. Trooper Steve is here,
What's
watching
up?
the roads. Everyone's happy on this Thursday. Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos with a
Because of me.
pinpoint
No,
accurate forecast. You have a lot to do with it, Candace, because the weather has been just
You're welcome.
beautiful and really comfortable outside, and it's something that I think we're all just harnessing.
So comfortable that Steve this morning, as I'm walking out of my car in the parking lot, had to scare me like the little prankster he is.
All I said was meow. In a dark
sitting
parking
in a
lot.
creepy, dark
Yes.
parking lot.
But it was really nice outside. So
Yeah,
it was perfect.
it was. So just enjoy the day. That's the moral of the story today. As temperatures are going to be back, don't be pranking randos.
Just
You
random.
prank your friends.
Don't randomly walk up to a stranger and be like, meow.
We live in Florida.
Well,
This is true.
that's quite normal around here. Downtown Orlando sky cam right now. We have a little bit of cloud cover still sitting overhead at this point in time. Our light Orlando delivering hope camera, though, not looking too bad. 62. That is our temperature right now in and around Orlando and Sanford. 66 degrees right now in Daytona Beach. We're holding at 60 there in Melbourne. As we take a kind of a wider view, we have this area of low pressure. There's that trailing old stationary front that brought us some rain. Brought some cooler changes as well, which is what puts everybody in a good mood when you have weather like this in the middle of April. But we are going to continue to track just a few lone showers that could be clipping that coastline throughout the day. Rain chances not impressive. Right now we're looking mostly dry, but we can't rule out the chance of a rogue shower moving onshore throughout the afternoon. Now temperatures as the kids are heading to that bus stop, we're in those low 60s right now. It's a nice cool start, certainly worthy of a light jacket if you'd like. And then as we head into the afternoon, it will be another nice day. We'll be closing in on near 80 degrees by 3 p.m. We'll have more details on another cold front in store by tomorrow coming up in just a bit. But now let's check on those roadways. Trooper Steve, who's got your News 6 traffic update?
The cold front in this studio has my fingers like
Oh my God, it's so cold.
flipping out right now. So we're starting to see that delay slowly begin eastbound I-4 this morning as you begin to approach that 535 area. But we already know what's there. Kissimmee, Poinciana, you guys are already seeing your delays. Where are they? Pleasant Hill, almost all the way down to Reeves. We're starting to see that Poinciana delay there. And then, of course, along 1792, just west of Intercession. And then eastbound along I-4 approaching Champions Gate. No big crash to give you guys this morning, which is really nice. Yesterday along 408, we were bumper to bumper for no reason. This morning, we are all clear for no reason, but that's a good thing. So you're clear from 417 westbound all the way to downtown. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. The roller coaster ride continues when it comes to President Trump and his tariffs on dozens of countries around the world.
Trump rolled back many of those tariffs yesterday, saying nations have been lining up to make new deals. That means, and that news sent stocks soaring yesterday with the markets seeing their third biggest one-day gain since World War II.
Still this morning, there's a lot of uncertainty about what will come next. News 6's Angie Casada is following the latest live. And Angie, the big exception to this tariff relief is China.
Oh, yeah. Not only did Trump not only drop the tariff on China, he didn't, right? He increased it. And the biggest thing is we have so many imports coming from China, and that has a lot of people worried that we're still going to be paying more.
Stocks surged Wednesday, the Dow up nearly 3,000 points after President Trump announced a 90-day pause on most new tariffs. The president says more than 70 countries want to negotiate new deals. But China, who raised its own tariffs to 84%, isn't off the hook.
I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it.
Tariffs on Chinese imports jumped to 125%, escalating an already tense standoff.
They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors, and we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners who did not retaliate.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the White House is now in a strong position, but Democrats see it differently.
He keeps changing things from day to day. You cannot run a country with such chaos.
And for now, most countries will see their tariffs drop back to 10%. But what happens after 90 days? That's the big question. In Orlando, Angie Casada, News 6.
Certainly is the big question. Thank you, Angie. And the ever-changing news on these tariffs has a lot of local businesses on edge. We visited Apna Bazaar grocery store on Orange Blossom Trail yesterday. They specialize in international foods. A lot of their items come from China, and the family-owned store says it has no choice but to pass its higher costs on to customers.
It's a business. We have very small margins, and we will have to hike up the prices. As much as we hate to do it and pass it on to the customer, that's just the name of the game, and prices will go up.
Workers say it's still too soon to tell just how high the prices will go. And we know many of you still have concerns about all this, so we want to help you get results. That is a QR code there. Scan that and then click the link. That'll take you to our web story on clickorlando.com explaining where these tariffs stand. And you can also send us your questions.
New from overnight, the death toll has surged in the Dominican Republic after the roof collapsed at an iconic nightclub. And now rescue teams say they have begun the recovery phase, calling off the search for any more survivors. At least 184 people have now been confirmed dead after the collapse on Wednesday at the legendary Jet Set Club. Many are still missing, including Shaylin Pena's father, stepmom, aunt, and cousins, all who were there at the club to see a show.
My dad is my hero. Like, I can't live without him. Sorry. He was really important to me, and I'm not prepared for anything that isn't hugging him right now.
Just devastating news here. The cause of that collapse also remains a mystery right now. The club issued a statement saying it is cooperating with authorities.
A former youth coach already accused of sex crimes against a child is facing new charges this morning. We first told you about 62-year-old Richard Hawkins back in February. That's when a 16-year-old told police he was spending the night when he woke up to find some of his clothes had been removed and that Hawkins tried to block him from leaving. Officers arrested Hawkins on charges of touching a minor and false imprisonment. Since the arrest, police say another victim has come forward. Hawkins now facing an additional count of molesting a minor. They're still asking anyone else with information or who may have had a similar experience to come forward.
A 100-mile-per-hour police chase on I-4 ended with one couple facing hundreds of fraud charges. Tristan Dixon and Melissa Dre have a total of 1,500 charges between them. Now, this is what we know. Troopers say that the duo was in a car. They refused to stop on Tuesday, eventually hitting 3 other vehicles before they were finally arrested. Inside their car, troopers discovered about 200 copies of hotel receipts containing names, birthdays, copies of credit cards. They also found 2 books of handwritten Social Security numbers with names. In court for her first appearance yesterday, prosecutors argued Dre was a flight risk.
She does have 2 prior failures to appear, but also seems to have an extensive amount of personal information of other people, including sensitive persons.
The 2 are each facing charges that include identity theft, fraud, and possession of stolen credit cards. Happening today, the future of Sunrail set to be up for discussion in Orange County.
Yeah, the county is about to be on the hook to pay millions every year to keep the trains up and running. And a special commission needs to decide whether to ask voters for a tax hike to help pay for it. News 6's Mark Lehman following the latest live for us this morning. And Mark, Mayor Demings has been pushing for this tax for years.
Yeah, the mayor first started calling for a transportation sales tax back in 2019. It was rejected by voters in 2022 and never made it on the ballot last year. Now, however, Orange County is looking at a big bill just to keep Sunrail up and running, meaning a 1% sales tax may come back into play. With ownership of Sunrail transitioning from state to local control, 5 jurisdictions from DeLand to Point Siena are weighing operational costs. It's an issue that's on the minds of some riders. Do you think that would be worth it?
I mean, absolutely, but the flip side of the equation is they need to promote this thing.
The Commuter Rail Commission releasing the cost breakdown for the year based on ridership. Orange County's portion would be $14.5 million, a price the county's Transportation Advisory Commission will discuss tonight. What do you think about that? Orange County would have to pay $14.5 million.
It would be worth it if they could run it on the weekends.
You think so?
Yes.
The commission is expected to talk about if they should recommend putting a 1% sales tax increase on the 2026 ballot to pay for mass transit. That's happening as Florida lawmakers may vote to decrease the state sales tax by 0.75%. Do you think a 1% sales tax is a good idea?
It's unavoidable.
Meanwhile, questions remain about the future of Sunrail, which is exploring the Sunshine Corridor. That's a possible expansion of service to the airport, along I-Drive, and down to Disney Springs. Now, one commission member tells me that Sunrail connecting to the airport may be the only way to get ridership numbers up to where they need to be. That, however, requires a lot more money, and that gets us back to the penny sales tax idea. And all of this will be discussed during the meeting that's set for 6 tonight. For now, reporting live in Orange County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
They are going to give you a full tuition scholarship.
Big reaction there at Evans High School after Valencia College announced it was giving every senior a full tuition scholarship. The award was given to about 900 students at both Evans and Jones High Schools, and this opportunity is part of the school's program, their College Access Program. It allows students the chance to earn an associate degree or technical certificate. Valencia says private donations to a special foundation made this all possible. Great news there. Fantastic. So happy for them, so happy for the families. It's going to really set them up for success.
It
all right.
really is.
Setting up for success on this Thursday is this sunrise over Port Canaveral.
Yeah.
I don't care if the crane's in the background, Candace. I am not distracted.
It's
I'm not
moving.
distracted.
I'm strategically standing in front of it.
You need to grow a little bit, Candace.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. It's at least moved a little bit out of my way so I can at least watch the sunrise. I know they're working out there. I get it. All right. Our Launch Credit Union camera. We're at 64 degrees right now, partly cloudy skies. I should name the crane or something, shouldn't I? The sunrise, just to...
When you boxing the crane or something.
Oh, there you go. A montage of me giving some shade to the crane. Temperatures in the upper 70s later on this afternoon, up to about 77 degrees. Our breeze still primarily out of the northeast, continuing to kick up that breeze between 10 to 15 miles per hour so far this morning. We'll continue to be on the breezier side today, just not as gusty as it was yesterday. Now, along that breeze, there will be that potential of seeing a couple of little rogue showers here and there along our coastline. If they do hold, they could push inland, almost kind of a sea breeze interaction. So we're going to hold the rain chances low, but still have to mention them. Temperatures out the door right now along our coastline, pretty much from the low 60s to the upper 60s. Right now we're in the 50s, though, from areas in and around the villages in Apopka and further north. We'll have more details on our next and what could possibly be our last real punch of late winter, spring-like weather this weekend. We'll have more on that coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your pinpoint traffic.
Thank you, ma'am. Right now, things looking good across Central Florida. If you're getting ready to hit the road, do yourself a favor. Roll the windows down as you're headed into work this morning. 408 looking good. Azalea Park out on the east side. Goldenrod, Redbug Lake Road as you're headed maybe eastbound towards 417 just south of Oviedo. Nice and clear. That earlier crash that's on I-4, I need to delete that because that is gone. And then Pine Hills. Listen, if you're on State Road 50 right now, it's nice and smooth as you're headed westbound towards Ocoee. And then 429, even at the Florida Turnpike, not picking up any delays out here. So let's keep it that way, please. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. 7:13 coming up. The songs you can't get out of your head are now becoming part of history.
Okay, the new album's being added into the National Recording Registry. Plus, little to no parking becoming a headache along a busy stretch of the beach where you could soon be forced to pay for a spot.
First, though, a shootout at a downtown Orlando parking garage. The new video just released by police showing how the dangerous scene unfolded. Some breaking news from overnight. A Russian-American ballerina is headed back to the United States this morning after spending more than a year in Russian custody. The ballerina had been sentenced to 12 years in a Russian penal colony for treason. On social media this morning, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said she was being wrongfully detained. The Wall Street Journal reporting in exchange for the ballerina, the U.S. handed over Arthur Petrov, a German-Russian arrested in 2023 at the request of the U.S. He was being held on allegations of exporting sensitive microelectronics.
New this morning, some scary video just released by Orlando police. It shows the moment one man started shooting in a downtown parking garage. This happened back in February at the Central Station garage off Orange Avenue. Police say a group of suspects showed up there to steal 16 pounds of weed when things quickly escalated. It's believed at least 2 men fired guns and tried to get away, but they were stopped by officers. No one was hurt. A total of 6 people are now facing charges. That includes attempted felony murder for 5 of the suspects. We checked, and all remain locked up right now in the Orange County Jail.
More than 5,000 people have now signed a petition with the hopes of helping a Brevard County teacher get her job back. Melissa Calhoun is an AP literature teacher at Satellite High, but her contract will not be renewed after May. That's because the district says she called a student by a name other than their legal name without parental permission. That violates the state's parental rights and education law. But during this week's board meeting, many came to Calhoun's defense.
There was no harm, no threat to safety, no malicious intent, just a teacher trying to connect with a student.
The district says the students' parents came forward about the issue. You can read the full statement from Brevard County Public Schools on clickorlando.com. Happening today, leaders in Flagler Beach will be hosting a workshop to find a solution to the city's parking problem. Business owners tell News 6 there is a lack of parking in the downtown area. This situation gets worse when people decide to park all day, never freeing up a spot. We first told you about this story last week. A business owner submitted a proposal to the city requesting a 2-hour limit to parking between 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. The city is now planning to consider the time limit option and paid parking. The workshop gets underway tonight at 5.
25 new recordings are now being entered into the National Recording Registry. Let's see if you know some of them. The list of popular recordings include Elton John's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album, Amy Winehouse's Back to Black, Steve Miller Band's Fly Like an Eagle, and Celine Dion's Titanic Ballad. Other music on the list include the Minecraft video game soundtrack. And you can help decide which songs or recordings will be inducted next year. Just head to the Library of Congress's website. Submit your nomination by October 1st.
Good stuff.
Okay, I gotta look. I gotta see which songs have been included. Is there like a
I'm sure there's a registry.
Let's see.
I mean, no, don't. That's not gonna have enough time. There are a lot of songs that have been there. No, we're not gonna have enough time for that.
Would like a Bohemian Rhapsody be?
I would
like
imagine
part
that's
of it?
probably in there.
Right.
I mean,
That's my jam.
Yeah.
If you see me in traffic and something is happening to me in the car,
yes,
I'm singing
Do
Bohemian
not
Rhapsody.
call an ambulance for.
It's just
Got it.
Bohemian Rhapsody. Just me singing.
If
Queen.
we're gonna go,
I've
old
got the
school,
music in me.
I'm like a Hotel California. Eagles.
yeah, it's probably in there too. I mean, those are
Eagles.
two classics.
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Oh, Hamilton. That's a newer one.
Okay, we don't have time to do all
Yeah.
this
Rudolph
right
the
now.
Red-Nosed Reindeer. What?
Well, that's my jam.
Okay.
You put that into like some remix.
Ain't no sunshine.
Oh, there she goes, guys. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
Here we
Mute her
go.
mic, mute her
You're getting
mic,
the new
mute her mic,
6
mute her
Plus
mic.
special.
There's a
Director.
song called Dookie.
And they dropped her mic.
Mute her. Mute her. Director.
There we go.
I need
No,
you
I'm
to
still
mute her.
here. I'm still here. Keep me up. Deja vu.
All right, let's talk about the weather forecast across the area. It's going to be a lovely day. Roll down the windows, blast that music, enjoy it. We have a little speaker outside, and the songs that the kids pick sometimes are just like oldies, but like good oldies. I'm like, okay, we're teaching you right. That's good. All right, coastal sprinkles in the forecast for this afternoon. Now, we are going to be watching a new front. This one will have the backing of the jet stream. What that means is that there's actually going to be a push of some cooler air behind that front, and that is why this weekend looks to be could possibly be the most comfortable weekend you'll have until probably October, November. I'm just saying it right now. Looking here at the satellite and radar composite, an area of low pressure, that just means live every weekend like it's the last weekend of nice spring-like weather, really, at the end of the day. Not the last week, anyway. To our north, there's that cold front that is going to be bringing in some really nice weather as we head into both Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures out the door, upper 50s, low 60s. But now let's check on that hour-by-hour forecast for today. Low 80s, 81 is our high in Orlando along the coastline, upper 70s. Mix of sun and clouds with, again, just a rogue shower or two. You can see the showers being picked up on our modeling. Overall, the trend looks mostly dry, but still really liking that idea of a sea breeze interaction. That's what the modeling is picking up. So we're going to hold that coverage about 10 to 20% throughout the afternoon. It's not going to be a washout of an event. Just do be aware there could be a sprinkle or two in the forecast. Then as we head into Friday evening, we're going to stay dry throughout the majority of tomorrow. The cold front comes through. Might pick up just a few scattered showers, most of it happening overnight. But then the cold front will be out of here even before the sun rises Saturday morning. Your weekend forecast looking great. Mid to upper 70s. Sunday morning could be the coolest spot. Where we are is talking about temperatures closing in on near 40s, in the upper 40s there in Marion and northern Lake and Sumter. But then summer-like temperatures return pretty quickly by next week. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your News 6 traffic update.
After that, I'm thinking, it's the end of the world. You're
It's
like,
the end of the spring,
You're
yes.
like, oh, the last weekend ever. No, it's going to be amazing. I can't. Let's just fast forward to Friday afternoon, please. 441, you guys look fine this morning. And picking up those routine delays along OBT and John Young, north and southbound. So just be careful, especially like our metro areas. I'm talking right there at State Road 50. Sun is up if you're out by MCO this morning. A little DOT cam showing a little haze out there, a little cloud cover, but nothing too much. South Chase, good morning to you guys. And then out by Lake Nona, things are perfectly fine with no issues this morning. We're not talking about pedestrian safety along Pershing. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. WKMG is once again hitting the road. This time, we're going to Claremont. And we want to hear from you. Share your hidden gems, favorite restaurants, and what makes your community truly special. Just head to clickorlando.com/hitstheroad. An opportunity for a new job is happening today.
Still ahead, details on a big local job fair.
Plus, the Gators, if you didn't know, yeah, they're out there. At the bottom of the hour, a crash course in what not to do if you see a Gator this mating season.
New this morning, a recall alert for Audi vehicle owners. The company says the software in your car could soon stop working. Volkswagen Group of America says an aging flex coil cable can lead to the software issue, causing the instrument panel display to fail. The error could cause your speedometer and warning lights to stop working. Not good. The recall involves 14 Audi models, all from the 2021 model year. You can take your vehicle to any Volkswagen or Audi dealership for a free update.
Happening today, Orange County is hosting a job fair. The goal is to fill vacant spots in the Head Start and Youth and Family Services divisions. The job fair starts at 9 this morning, so about an hour and a half. It goes through 2 p.m. A few of the openings include teacher's aide, youth resident coordinator, and family teacher assistant. The job fair will take place at 1826 East Michigan Street in Orlando.
A new move from President Trump, and this one could impact your morning routine.
Still ahead, the policy just signed when it comes to shower heads and why many say it's been a long time coming.
Plus a sudden pause on new tariffs, but does this mean prices will go down? In the next half hour, a look at the tariffs that still stand. You're watching News 6 Mornings, getting results for all of Central Florida on air and around the clock on clickorlando.com. Leave you with these gorgeous shots from the coast.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
Good morning, Central Florida. I'm Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos. Temperatures out the door. Just a lovely start. Grab the light jacket. You might need it for the next few hours as we are continuing to stay in the 50s and 60s at least until about 9-10 o'clock this morning. Now, our highs for this afternoon still running just pretty close to where we were yesterday at this point. We're in the upper 70s to low 80s. Can't rule out the chance of a rogue shower or two, but then we are awaiting the approach of a new cold front. Will come through late in the day Friday, cooling us down Saturday and Sunday, looking picture perfect weekend before summer-like weather returns next week. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your News 6 traffic update.
Roadways aren't too bad this morning when it comes to local stuff. 436 Pershing down south towards Hoffner, nice and clear. I-4 though, out by Champions Gate, sun is up, so just enjoy it. Maybe roll the window down so you can enjoy the traffic as you're headed eastbound out there. No crash, just the routine slowdowns, and then Turnpike slow a little bit southbound approaching Claremont. The news continues next. Remember, get updates on our big stories anytime. clickorlando.com.
This portion of the news is sponsored by AK Certified Roofing. Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results.
7:30 now. Let's get a check of the top stories. We'll be waiting to see what happens on Wall Street today after stocks posted their biggest gains in years on Wednesday. Comes after President Trump announced he was pausing new tariffs on dozens of countries except for China.
A couple facing 1,500 charges between them after investigators say they found hundreds of copies of hotel receipts inside their car. Now, those receipts contain names and credit card numbers, even a book of social security numbers. Investigators say they are now locked up and behind bars.
And a special commission is set to talk tonight about the future of Sunrail in Orange County. It comes as the county prepares to start spending millions every year when FDOT hands over control of the trains to local governments.
Let's turn to your weather now. We had a gorgeous day yesterday, but look at this. I just love the light coming from behind the clouds out there in Port Canaveral.
Nice start to the day. Let's get a check of that forecast with Chief Meteorologist Candace Campos.
Yeah, we just have a little bit of cloud cover overhead, but overall just a really nice start to the day. We're looking mostly dry. Right now, our downtown Orlando sky cam brought to you by Light Orlando, delivering hope, showing that sunrise there reflected on some of our buildings. We're in this low 60s right now in Orlando at 62. Sanford also at 62. Melbourne, you're actually at the cool spot at this point in time, nearing 60 and 66 degrees in Daytona Beach. So the reason why we still have just a little bit of cloud cover left is because it's just kind of remnants of this area of low pressure. It's still kind of wrapping around some cloud cover. Can't rule out the chance of a few coastal showers pushing on shore this afternoon. So we're going to hold the coverage about 10 to 20%. So nothing to kind of reorganize your outdoor plans if you have any today. Looking at the radar again, just little pockets of little showers here that we're starting to pick up. Could be clipping parts of the Cape within the next 30 to 45 minutes. So the bus stop forecast, the kids really don't need their rain gear, to be honest. Any rain that we do see will be very light and very quick. Highs though this afternoon back to nearing 80 degrees. We'll have more details on the arrival of our next cold front, which has the hints of that it could be the last one of the season coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your News 6 traffic update.
And the update is we're slow eastbound from Champions Gate to about 429. We'll slow down a little bit. You pick back up and then you'll be good to go to the rest of the downtown area. So 63-mile marker also looking good. This slowdown southbound along the turnpike. You're going to hit Montverde, that construction area. Just be careful. Then you just slow it down through Claremont, and then you'll be good to go there. But look at this. Eastbound along State Road 50, very slow over in the Groveland spot. So just be cautious this morning as you're cruising out there. The turnpike way up on the north end. Not bad if you're maybe headed north towards the Wildwood or Fruitland Park. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Trooper Steve. Right now, a new round of uncertainty after a surprising about-face. President Trump shocking investors by temporarily pausing tariffs imposed on dozens of countries across the globe. Wall Street rallied at the news, but the big question, will that optimism last? News 6's Angie Casada is taking a closer look, joining us live. And Angie, we should note that pause is for everyone except for China.
Yeah, a full-blown trade war may have just downgraded, but not for China. President Trump says that he's hitting a pause on most tariffs, and the markets loved it. But tensions with Beijing are heating up fast, and here's where things stand.
After days of losses, markets soared Wednesday following President Trump's decision to halt most new tariffs, except on China.
Somebody had to do what we did, and I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
Those tariffs now at 125% after Beijing slapped 84% duties on U.S. goods. The White House says dozens of countries have reached out, saying the move creates leverage and puts America in the driver's seat. The sudden change in policy came as Democrats grilled Trump's top trade representative on Capitol Hill.
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago.
But critics say the damage is done and prices could spike again once this 90-day window closes.
Now, the president says more than 70 countries want to negotiate new deals. As for the markets, the Dow posted its best day in 5 years yesterday, and foreign markets have been up overnight. Of course, just like you guys mentioned, we're going to have to see how that turns out later on this morning. Reporting in Orlando, Angie Casada, News 6.
And Angie, even though the president has paused this new tariffs, others remain in place. That includes 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports that went into effect on March 12th. The other is a 25% tariff on car imports that started earlier this month. The president says he believes both will help jumpstart manufacturing here at home. Now, if you're looking for some more information, we have it for you in a special section on our website. How we're also telling you how local businesses are responding and impacted by all this. Just head to clickorlando.com/tariffs.
New this morning, we're waiting for police to confirm if anyone was hurt after a bad crash in Ormond Beach. It happened last night after a car and pickup truck collided right outside the Vanguard Motel on US 1 right near Fleming Avenue. Several crews responded to the scene after part of the car ended up crushed. So far, investigators haven't said exactly what led to all this. We will let you know as soon as we find out more. Also new this morning, an Osceola County mother accused of drowning her 14-year-old daughter in a bathtub has been ruled incompetent to stand trial. The decision was made yesterday after two separate doctors testified on behalf of Kelsey Glover. A judge ruled based on that testimony and Glover's behavior in court that she is not fit to proceed and ordered her to be committed to a state hospital. Glover was indicted on first-degree murder charges in December for the death of her daughter a month earlier.
A funding fight is moving forward in Tallahassee, and it could cost local school districts millions of dollars. It's money they use to help offer specialized classes like advanced placement, dual enrollment, and some hands-on work programs. Included in SB 7030 is a 50% reduction in how much the state reimburses a school district for certain AP classes. Orange County Public Schools says if the bill passes in the final budget, instead of receiving more than $33 million in extra funding next year, they'll only receive about $16 million for AP-related coursework. Supporters say the measure will hold school districts accountable when it comes to spending. Critics, though, say that the bill targets public education by creating more funding for private schools.
Because if you go to the districts, they will tell you exactly what the impact of this bill is, which is why, as Democrats, we overwhelmingly opposed this legislation and are going to fight to ensure that these classes and this funding is protected as we go into the budget conferencing process.
The bill isn't a done deal and still has to go through a process called conferencing when the House and Senate debate a final budget bill with a deadline in May.
New this morning, you may soon start seeing more alligators out and about, and that's because it's that time of year again. It's alligator mating season. That means the reptiles will be more active and more aggressive. Cities like Oviedo already putting out warnings to make sure people know about the dangers lurking in the water. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez joins us live this morning with ways to reduce your risk.
Hey, Justin. Yeah, the city of Oviedo put out a post on their Facebook just letting people know that it's happening and that they should be cautious. So we went out and we got a crash course from the experts on how you can reduce your risk. And we know there's so many bodies of water all throughout Florida that you need to be cautious of. To learn more, I chatted with the former president of the Central Florida Herpetological Society while he enjoyed a day at Alligator Lake in Columbia County.
It's always a good idea at any time of year to remember that every body of water in Florida can potentially have an alligator in it. And walking your dog or small children immediately next to the water is not a good idea, especially at dawn and dusk or at nighttime.
We also stopped by Gatorland.
If the water looks like sweet tea, don't jump in it.
Enrichment coordinator Savannah Bone says if you hear this, that's an alligator's mating call. The sound will lead to nests of eggs all over the state.
If you come across something that looks like a big mound, you definitely want to, be aware of your surroundings, stay away from that because alligator moms are very protective of their babies.
A major way to keep yourself and others safe is by never feeding alligators in the wild. It's illegal and can be an invitation for them to come up to you. Most of the rescues here at Gatorland are animals that were fed by humans. And if you see a small gator, leave it alone.
Do not even try to pick up a baby alligator. That is the worst thing you could ever do. First of all, it's invading on our nature, and also the mama's going to come after you.
Now, as they're out looking for mates, the gators may end up in places that they usually wouldn't. If you see one, you can call the FWC nuisance hotline. They will come out and investigate and see if the alligator does need to be removed from whatever that situation is. We have that information right here on Click Orlando. Reporting live in Oviedo, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Thanks, Stephanie. We're waiting to find out when a history-making rocket launch from Amazon will get off the ground on the Space Coast. That launch was supposed to happen last night with an Atlas V rocket taking the first batch of the company's new Kuiper internet satellites into orbit. Amazon is hoping to use the satellites to compete with SpaceX's Starlink service. But bad weather ended up causing a scrub. Mission managers haven't said yet when they will try again.
7:40 now. If you're just now joining us, I think you might be just thinking about yesterday's weather and be like,
Yes.
bad weather. What was so bad about it? Well, I mean, not great for launch, but really
Right.
nice to get out and about and go for a walk. That's what I did, Candace.
I mean, and that's a great idea. Just finding ways
Yes.
of being outdoors, kind
Finding
of just
excuses.
bask in this nice weather. We have a nice little stretch, though. This is not just a one-day event. Now we're back to the 90s. We will have a reinforcing shot of cooler air that comes in tomorrow, and that's going to keep this really nice weather, maybe even nicer than what we experienced yesterday for your weekend. Now, temperatures out the door compared to yesterday, we have a little less moisture out over the open waters, which is some good news. And our breeze is not going to be as strong as it was yesterday. The two issues that, of course, we see on the Space Coast yesterday when it came to that rocket launch. So if they do end up scheduling it for later on this evening, I think the chances will be much better for a successful liftoff. And then looking at the wind gusts for today, again, we will be clocking winds between about 15 to 20. Yesterday, we were talking about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So again, we are improving when it comes to our rainfall as well as our winds. If you're planning on heading out to the beaches, and this is going to be the story whether it's today or tomorrow, even into the weekend, it is going to be breezy. So our surf is still a little rough because of that low 5 to 7 feet, and we will continue to hold on to that risk of rip currents up and down all of our beaches. We'll have more details on a very nice looking weekend coming up in just a bit. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your News 6 traffic update.
We do have nice roadways this morning. Florida Turnpike looking nice up towards Wildwood and I-75. The Villages south towards Lady Lake, Fruitland Park, and of course Leesburg, nice and smooth. And then sliding just a little further east this morning, two different cameras, one at 441 and the other one here at 429. Super nice. All this talk about the weekend and great weather, things to do. Yesterday out on patrol, I hung out with the men and women that are putting together the Wheels in Motion car show that's taking place in Titusville at Fox Lake Park. Sponsors, just men and women that are part of the Rotary out there. It's going to be a great time, all to benefit the SPCA. And you guys know I love my animals, and so does this car show. So I hope to see you guys out there on Saturday. Today out on patrol, we're headed towards Epic Universe. Check out some of this new traffic plans that they have. We've been keeping up on this all with our web team, showing you just how crazy the development is out there. Join me today at 10 o'clock over at clickorlando.com. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. And Trooper Steve will be back in just a few minutes to answer one of the questions you sent in.
Coming up, the different kinds of lights you see on fire trucks.
First, though, millions of dollars worth of drugs seized off the coast of Florida. What was caught by the Coast Guard and who federal officials say is behind the shipments?
All right, and it's time for Ask Trooper Steve, where I get to answer some of the questions that you guys sent in to me. And today's topic is an interesting one. We're talking fire trucks and some of the lights that they have on their vehicles. So this came in. Since when do fire trucks have blue lights on them? Larry, brother, I was asking myself the same question. So do a lot of traveling. Whenever I'm up north, I'm like, why do you guys have blue lights? That's only for the cops. Well, here in the state of Florida, things changed back in July of last year. New Florida law allows some fire trucks to actually use blue lights on the back of their vehicle. So be careful where you put them, all right? So only police cars and some correctional vehicles were allowed to use them prior, but now a fire truck is allowed to do that. But we're talking the big ones, the engines, things that weigh over 24,000 pounds, and it's owned by the government. So if you own one on your own, no blue lights on it, all right? And here's the catch. The boss has got to approve it. So the fire chief does need to approve this. And this change happened with the goal to make fire trucks easier to see. I know the big bright red for some of you guys is really difficult. So now we're going to give them blue lights, especially when they're stopped on the side of the road. All right. The blue lights sometimes can help other drivers be seen. Part of the reason why there's always a combination. So you'll start seeing this. Orlando Police Department has started to do it with a single light on the back. Helped out a little bit there. You can, if you've got a traffic safety question or you want to talk about a certain topic, hit me up over at clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
More than $500 million worth of drugs heading to the U.S. intercepted by the U.S. Coast Guard in the waters off Florida. Here's some video from Port Everglades showing crews offloading some 445,000 pounds of cocaine, nearly 4,000 pounds of marijuana as well. Federal officials say the drugs were seized during 13 different operations. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says investigators have linked it to 2 Mexican drug cartels.
This is a major blow to their financial operations and their efforts to distribute drugs throughout our country.
More than 30 drug smuggling suspects were arrested during the operation.
New this morning, a rescue caught on camera outside a North Florida store. A deputy smashes a car window to get a dog to safety.
Hi, I'm so sorry, sweetheart.
This is body camera video posted online by the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. Deputies say they were called to a Home Depot Sunday after someone spotted the dog inside a locked car. Investigators say the vehicle was not running. The windows were rolled up at the time. The dog was safely removed and is expected to be okay. A reminder there, don't leave your pups in your cars outside. A South Florida homeowner is having to deal with an unexpected new neighbor.
Crocodile made itself comfortable right in her backyard, and what's worse, the croc's been laying eggs just feet away from her home.
It was kind of like she came up and looked the place over, and this was it. And I get up early, and it was about 7 o'clock, and it was still there. And I thought, oh boy, freaked me out.
Bet it did freak you out. That's 80-year-old Carolyn David. She lives in Sanibel. You know, she's used to seeing iguanas around her house. They're pretty common down there. But this is her first encounter with a crocodile. So far, they've been coexisting peacefully. Probably because Carolyn's smart and she's staying away. But the city has put up a camera to track the croc and see what, if anything, can be done to remove it.
Oh, I liked when you mentioned that, Steve. I wonder how much those gator eggs are worth compared to chicken eggs.
Listen. I've watched some National Geographic stuff. You do not want to eat those. I'll tell you that right now. No.
I wouldn't cross my mind. I'm good.
He's
Although
like, no,
I would die. Times are tough right now.
That thing is creepy looking. You imagine though, just waking up, you're back there, and all of a sudden there's just a real crocodile.
No, you can have it. You can have the whole house. Yeah, you can have it.
Along with the spiders.
I do have a neighbor who has a little like alligator head as a chlorine tablet holder in the pool. Always gets me.
Scares
I know
every
it's out there.
time.
I know it's
like,
out there.
No,
I'm like in their kitchen, I'm like, it's fake. It's a chlorine tablet holder. All right, let's talk about the weather forecast for today. You know what? Listen, at the end of the day, it's going to just be a really nice day. So if you maybe have the tolerance or the ability to warm your pool, it's going to be a nice day to be out and about, whether it's in the pool, but it's not hot enough to the point that you need places to cool down. It's just going to be a nice day. So whether you go out for a walk, you take an extra longer stroll, you take maybe a slower walk to the mailbox, whatever it is, however you can enjoy the day today in the middle of the work week, get out there and enjoy it. Now we are going to have a really nice stretch as we head into Saturday and Sunday. We are watching the approach of another cold front. This has the backing of that jet stream, which is going to help push a little bit of some more cool, comfortable air into the forecast. We're not talking about a significant drop in temperatures, but we will be pretty cool come early Sunday morning. Then as we head into next week, boom, the weekend will be in the rearview mirror, and it's going to be all hot from there as temperatures are going to be closing in on near 90 degrees. So widening out the view right now, Sunshine State living up to its name, mostly sunny skies. We have a big ridge of high pressure there in the Gulf. Will continue to push onshore throughout the day. Also, cold front that you see there in your top side of the screen there continues to nudge all of this out towards the Atlantic. And as it does so, once it moves through central Florida, we can't rule out a few spotty showers throughout the overnight Friday and into early Saturday morning. But for today, for your Thursday morning, we're in those 50s still at this hour in areas of Marion County, Sumter County, Wildwood at 54. We're at 62 in DeLand, 68 degrees in New Smyrna Beach. Now you can see clouds of rain forecast continuing to show a couple of those fast moving rogue showers pushing onshore. If they do hold, they could push as far inland as about the I-4 corridor, but it looks very sea breeze driven. It looks like most of the action inland will taper off pretty quickly. So again, holding that chance at only about a 10 to 20%. Then on Friday, we should stay mostly dry. It will be a little warmer as our winds start coming in from the south. It always warms up before a cold front, and that's exactly what we're going to see for tomorrow. A couple rogue showers throughout the overnight into early Saturday morning, but modeling continuing to hold most of the moisture and push it all out before the sun even comes up on Saturday. Look at the temperature trend. It is going to be a quick dip, and it happens to fall on a weekend. When does that ever happen, right? So Saturday and Sunday, we'll get that dip, but notice we're going to climb quickly back above average come Tuesday and Wednesday. I did mention that the coolest point will be Sunday morning. This is what the latest forecasts are calling for. Could be closing in on the 40s, upper 40s in our far northwestern zones, but even across the I-4 corridor, northern Volusia County, into the 50s early Sunday. And as we get results here, their full 7-day forecast. After that, though, say goodbye to spring because summer is right around the corner. Now let's check on those roadways with Trooper Steve. He's got your News 6 traffic update.
And summer, it's here.
Olaf.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be a hot one. 441, way out. 46 out in Mount Dora, nice and clear. Where are we seeing the delays this morning? They're here. I-4 westbound Lake Mary, no crash. I always talk about this just because it gets very bumper to bumper out here. DOT cam showing that here as you're headed westbound. What causes a lot of this is that ramp. A lot of the ramps coming in there, you end up losing to your travel lanes as you're headed westbound closer towards E.E. Williamson. So just be careful. South Sanford, nice and clear over Lake Jessup towards Oviedo, also running smooth this morning. University, east and westbound. And then if you're headed out towards Brevard County, the beaches are looking great, and so are the roads. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Steve. Still ahead on News 6 Mornings, President Trump signing an order that rolls back water restrictions, the changes you can now make to your shower.
President Trump has signed an executive order ending a controversial policy limiting the amount of water you get when in a shower. The order rolls back rules put into place by former President Obama that limits the flow of water from shower heads to 2.5 gallons per minute. President Trump has called the standards overly restrictive and argues it doesn't help to conserve water. The order also applies to sinks and dishwashers. The president rolled back the standards during his first term as well, but they were reinstated by former President Biden.
Well, if you've ever left something behind after taking an Uber, you're not alone. But it seems some people forget some rather unusual items. So the rideshare company just released its 9th annual Lost and Found Index. All right, listen to this. The most unique items lost include a mannequin head, a Viking drinking horn, a Ghostbusters ghost trap, a turtle,
Halloween.
and 10 live lobsters.
Wait, what?
Yes. Now, however, Uber says most of the items left behind are a lot more boring. That includes phones, wallets, keys, vomit. They say last year, I added the fourth one. They say last year alone, 1.7 million iPhones and Androids were left in cars with Uber drivers.
I'm still those live
lobsters.
Live lobsters. All right, taking a look at those live temperatures right now. We're in those low 60s area wide. If you have some outdoor options to hang out outside, we're in the upper 70s, low 80s this afternoon. It's just going to be a great weekend, so drag the whole family, everybody out, enjoy the day. Maybe some blueberry picking or something.
Good idea.
That's a really good idea. The weather's going to be great for that. All right, traffic. Not bad out there this morning. Westbound I-4 at Lake Mary, nice and clear. Oh, I love this show. Your drive times are doing great.
Where'd you get that idea?
Are you going to go blueberry picking this weekend?
I believe that has been decided for me.
All right.
I will be there. All right, thanks for joining us this morning. We break news on clickorlando.com.
Please leave a tip like live lobsters to your Uber driver.
That is the tip.
And
That's
you
a
can
good
see our
one.
stories on News 6 Plus.
That should be the tip, though. That is a good tip.